Oh, I see. I didn't realize I didn't have my video on. Okay.
I believe we're live now. Thank you. It is 6 p.m. I am hereby calling to order the successor agency meeting, beginning with roll call. Ms. Fritz?
Yes. Board Member Mendoza.
Present.
Board Member Gonzalez. He is absent. Board Member Ballin.
Present?
Vice Chair Pacheco.
Present.
And Chair Fajardo.
I am here. We do have a quorum. Is there a motion to approve the agenda for the successor agency?
I'll make the
moved.
motion.
That was by Pacheco. I will second. Roll call, please, Ms. Fritz.
Board Member Mendoza.
Yes.
Board Member Gonzalez. He is absent. Board Member Ballin.
Yes.
Vice Chair Pacheco.
Yes.
Chair Fajardo.
Yes, the motion carries. Do we have any public statements for the successor agency, Ms. Fritz?
We do not have public statements for the successor agency this evening.
Thank you. Therefore, I will move to approve the consent calendar for the successor agency. Is there a second?
Second?
Roll call.
Councilmember Mendoza.
Yes.
Councilmember Gonzalez is absent. Councilmember Ballin.
Yes.
Vice Chair Pacheco.
Yes.
And Chair Fajardo.
Yes, the motion carries. Is there any agency discussion? I see none. And is there any staff communication?
None for the agency.
Thank you. Therefore, I will move to adjourn the successor agency meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mendoza. Roll call, please.
Board Member Mendoza.
Yes.
Board Member Gonzalez. He is absent. Board Member Ballin.
Yes.
Vice Chair Pacheco.
Yes.
Chair Fajardo.
Yes, the motion carries. We are now adjourned from the successor agency meeting at 6:02 p.m. I will hereby call to order the regular San Fernando City Council meeting, also at 6:02 p.m. Ms. Fritz, roll call, please.
Yes, Councilmember Mendoza.
Present.
Councilmember Gonzalez, he is absent. Councilmember Ballin.
Present?
Vice Mayor Pacheco.
Present.
And Mayor Fajardo.
I am present. We do have a quorum. If all will rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, which I will lead. Please place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We are now at the approval of the agenda. I will move to approve the agenda for tonight's regular city council meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mendoza. Roll call, please, Ms. Fritz.
Councilmember Mendoza.
Yes.
Councilmember Gonzalez, he is absent. Councilmember Ballin.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Pacheco.
Yes.
Mayor Fajardo.
Yes, the motion carries. We have a presentation today. There is one, it is from the city clerk regarding the election. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. I have just a brief presentation, PowerPoint presentation for you this evening. And let me please just share my screen. Can everyone see my screen?
No?
Okay. Now can you see my screen?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay, very good. Well, the day has come, almost. Tomorrow is our big election day. And there are some, I'm sorry, my screen seems to be having an issue. Resume slideshow. Let me just exit one moment, please. Okay, I'll manually change it. as I was saying, here we are, general elections for November 3rd, and just some important dates to go over. Can you see my screen still?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you.
It's not changing, Madam Clerk, but that's fine. Just go through the information. You know.
Okay. November 5th, 2020, the Los Angeles County Recorder's Office will begin their official canvass and tally of the ballots. December 3rd, the certified statement of results of the election will be received from the Los Angeles County Recorder's Office. December 7th, we are anticipating having our regular City Council meeting declaring the results of the November 3rd general election. And some general information on October 30th, 2020, the in-person vote centers opened in San Fernando. All 5 of the locations, Las Palmas Recreation Park, San Fernando Library, the United Methodist Church, and Mission Church. On that day, code enforcement and I visited all of the locations to be sure that everything, for one, all the vote centers went up and were working properly, and the concern of electioneering. Confirmed with all the election staff who also measured the 100 feet radius around all the locations, and there was only one minor sign that was taken down. Otherwise, it was all good. Okay, I have some information now. I probably will forward these slides over to you because the information is for the election day. If there are any related issues to report regarding elections, there is a Los Angeles County Recorder's Office. I have a phone number and I'll state it. It is 1-800-815-2666. And then you will select the appropriate prompts from there. The 24-hour ballot boxes, it has been confirmed that Los Angeles County election staff is scheduled to lock all vote by mail boxes at 8 p.m. Keep in mind, they do have 404 boxes to lock simultaneously at the same time. So there might be a minute or two delay. But that is what I've been told by the county elections. On election night, and again, I will forward these slides over to you because the live results, there's a specific website to go to, and this would be after 8 p.m. tomorrow night. The website information is www.lavote.net/home/voting-elections/elections/election results/live-results. And that concludes my brief presentation this evening. And I'm here for any questions you may have.
Thank you. Are there any questions, Councilmember Mendoza? Councilmember Mendoza might be away. Councilmember Ballin?
Yes, I have a question. Are you going to be posting the results on our social media?
The results will be posted live on the Los Angeles County website.
Okay.
As throughout the evening, all the way till about 6 a.m. the next morning.
Will the link be available on our social media page to the
Yes,
county?
it will. Yes, the link
All
will
right.
be available.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Pacheco?
Can you give us a little bit more details? Did you say there was an issue with electioneering at one of San Fernando's polling locations?
More details. There was a restaurant that is very close to one of the vote centers. On the inside, there was a little election sign. So we contacted the owner or the person that was inside of the restaurant, and they removed it right away. I don't think they realized.
How are those types of issues usually dealt with? Do you just wait for a call from the public? Are there any like police officers? Do they go by the police, the polling stations at all, or what's kind of like the procedure when those things
So,
come up?
so code enforcement knows about, is aware of the 100 feet electioneering rule. In addition, the election workers from the county are they're very aware of it and probably measured all of the sites prior to my check-in, just to make sure that the signs, because they have a visual obviously there. And
So that, will that be done again tomorrow, I'm guessing? Will like another sweep since it's election day, or?
yes, additionally, I'll be driving to the locations as well to make sure everything is
Oh, okay.
going smoothly.
And our
So-
code.
Okay,
Oh, and
Tomorrow we'll have code enforcement do a sweep, as well as myself in the afternoon visiting the voting centers.
yeah, traditionally our code enforcement is very active on election day, and we anticipate them to be very active visiting the sites multiple times throughout the day.
excellent. And have there been any issues or any updates you can give us on the ballot drop-off locations at City Hall and Pioneer Park? Is everything pretty much okay? There've been
For our city, we have had no issues in regards to the 24-hour vote by mail drop boxes. As a matter of fact, we have a lot of activity, individuals dropping off their ballots, but other than that, there have been no issues.
do you know if there will be more than one pickup at these ballot drop-offs tomorrow, or is it just like an end of day pickup? Are you aware by chance?
I am not aware of how many times. Are you asking how many times?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, in a crazy world where so many people come to drop off, and like, I know it's a big, thing, but I'm just wondering, like, is everything okay in terms of like how often it needs to get,
Picked up.
picked up?
Okay.
That's fine.
In the past, it depended on the geographical information. If there is a huge population, large
Okay.
population, then they would pick up more frequently. Tomorrow, I know that they will be picking up once during the day. I don't have that time, at what time they're picking up, but also at the end of the day at the 8 o'clock hour.
Okay, and then last, if I could just request from staff, in addition to Ms. Mullen's suggestion that the link be posted on our social media, if we can also maybe post the link of the track your ballot link, Julia, I think that we referenced in the past, the link where voters can track their ballot, and maybe throw that up there as well, just for people's peace of mind. But other than that, thank you for the information, and thanks for all the help. I know it's been a very unique election, so I appreciate it so far, and hopefully everything goes well tomorrow.
Thank you. You're welcome. As far as the track your ballots, that information is on our website, on our elections website page. Our
Okay,
intent,
great.
staff's intent tomorrow will be to have the live results link on our homepage rather than going into the elections page. So once you land on our homepage, there'll be a link there for live results.
Cool. Okay, thank you.
We probably won't have that up until about noon. The county won't be having the link live or active until about 8 o'clock tomorrow evening.
Oh, you know what? One final question. Do you have any idea of how many San Fernando ballots have been received so
Well,
far?
that's a great
I
question.
do. It's 4,976.
Can I just verify with the city clerk as well?
Sure.
So I have just received information that they are still working on specific San Fernando numbers. I did ask them this morning if those numbers could be provided. What I did receive is county-wide, 3.1 million ballots have been cast, and I'll have to refer back, but 2.7 million are all vote by mail ballots of the 3.14. So he was not able to give me the San Fernando, and that was results, and that was about 5:30 this afternoon. So Mayor Fajardo, if you have that information, if you could forward it to me and I could forward it to them.
Certainly.
Sure.
Just could I also, as a follow-up, Mayor, I mean, how do you know that? Are we able to look up that information as well, or where did you get the number from?
No, it's through a service to which I subscribe.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that was pretty much all my questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councilmember Mendoza, did you have any questions?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you for this presentation, Ms. Fritz.
Okay.
I have one last thing I'd like to say. Julia, I'd like to thank you and Cynthia. You've done an incredible job, and I really appreciate it. This is a big, big election, and I just am very impressed with the work you and Cynthia have done. Thank you. It's not over. The bad
I
part
know.
is coming.
Don't thank me yet.
I am.
I appreciate your comments. Thank you very much. And it's my pleasure to serve you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving along on the agenda, one moment, please. I accidentally closed this. I believe that it is probably public statements. Ms. Fritz, have we received any public statements for this meeting?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have received public statements. I do have one public statement that I would like to call the individual, and she would, I'm going to put the speaker on and she will speak through the phone, and just a moment while I get a hold of her. It's not going through. Good evening. Is this Ms. D. Aikman? All right, it is time for your public statement. Are you ready for this? Okay, one moment, please. Okay, you may begin.
Yeah, we can't hear her. If you can put on speaker, I think that might work better.
Okay, Ms. Aikman, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to have you repeat that. I'm gonna put it on speakerphone. One moment, please. Okay, testing. Testing.
Yep, much better. Go ahead.
Okay, very good. You may begin, Ms. Aikman.
Thank you. Good evening, my friends in San Fernando. I live in the northern McNeil Street, and I've lived here since 1961. I'm talking to you because I have received several pieces of mailings from a PAC, Voters for Good Government. They have offices all over the country or all over the United States. Our city does not need outside PACs trying to influence our local politics and elections. We make our own judgments about our elections and do not need Voters for Good Government in Long Beach to interfere on our local elections and a national negative political group such as this, which is funded by dark money by the people that have no connections to our city. I can only hope these mailings were overlooked by our voters. I am not sure what we can ever do about hate mail like this, except tear them up and throw them in the trash, which is where they belong, and have this pack draw our elections to our town by someone who is in our town. But we should show this hate literature and throw it away. Thank you, Chief Iro, for the leadership that you showed during the rioters and the good judgment in keeping us safe. It's the end of my statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Aikman. Okay, and we're going to disconnect now. Thank you very much. Okay, I do have other public statements and I will begin reading those public statements. This is from Letitia Bianchi. Good evening, City Council. We would like to donate a Christmas tree to the city to memorialize our father, Jose Santana. Jose purchased a home in San Fernando in 1960 and started working at San Fernando Loan on the mall since 1946. His daughters were born and raised in the city. In 1977, he became the owner of the business. He was a longtime Kiwanian, founding board member of the San Fernando Police Advisory Council, and a member of St. Ferdinand Parish. He loved the community and gave back wherever he could. His family is also active in the city, serving on the San Fernando Police Advisory Council as a board member and president, the San Fernando Chamber of Commerce as a board member and president, and the San Fernando Mall Association as a board member and president, even a Miss San Fernando. It would be an honor for our family to be able to donate a tree and the lights for the city he loved for the residents to enjoy. Warm regards, Jose Santana's family. The next public statement is from Adriana Gomez. Good evening, City Council. The Mall Association is in support of item 5 of tonight's council agenda and is appreciative of the donation the Santana family has offered to the city. Thank you, San Fernando Mall Association, Adriana Gomez. The next public statement, which is also the last public statement received this evening, I am gonna go ahead and start a timer due to the length of the letter submitted. So I'm starting a timer for our 3 minutes. Okay, and beginning now. This is from Nicholas Cardenas, City of San Fernando, regarding Tesla charging station. Dear council members, the San Fernando City Chamber of Commerce, on behalf of the San Fernando business community, is frustrated and disappointed regarding not only the substance of the Tesla agreement, but the process of how the supercharger agreement, contract number 1960, here and after the Tesla agreement, was approved by this current council on August 3rd, 2020. The Tesla agreement results in a net loss of 17 parking spaces for 5 years, with an additional 5 years at Tesla's unilateral option. This council failed to consider the needs of the San Fernando business community, needs which have been highlighted by the current pandemic. At a time where this council should be thinking of ways to enhance the opportunities of San Fernando businesses, including using existing parking areas for outside dining and businesses, we are giving away 17 parking spaces for the exclusive use of Tesla customers. There is no language in the agreement whether Tesla will upgrade the technology during the length of this agreement. If the unilateral 5-year option is exercised by Tesla, the city of San Fernando can only terminate after the 6th year with termination costs of up to $240,000 to be paid by the city, regardless of where the charging stations are underused or if the technology becomes outdated. The city is prohibited from installing other charging stations for electric vehicles at this site. This entirely one-sided agreement locks the city regarding any and all present or future development. The claim that the charging stations will benefit surrounding businesses is unsubstantiated. There has been no information supporting this claim from Tesla. The City Council has explicably entered this one-sided agreement with Tesla while awaiting a parking study. The parking study has been pending prior to the city approving this agreement. And while the city has been in discussion with Tesla representatives, It should be noted that the city of Burbank has also been in discussion with Tesla representatives. Burbank, with a population of over 103,000 residents, has agreed to 20 charging stations. Conversely, San Fernando, with a population of a little over 24,000 residents, has agreed to 14 charging stations. On its face, the terms of agreement are excessive and without benefit to the city of San Fernando. The myriad of issues regarding the substance of the agreement begs the question, why did this council approve and execute this agreement without any meaningful input by the stakeholders most impacted by this one-sided agreement? There was no real opportunity to review the Tesla agreement. The chamber became aware of the city's, okay, that would be my 3 minutes. And I believe the letter was forwarded to City Council earlier this afternoon.
Yes.
Okay, that concludes public statements, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for that, and thank you for all the people who participated. Moving along on our agenda, we have concluded public statements. Decorum and order are printed in the agenda. I will now move to approve the consent calendar. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ballin. Roll call, please, Ms. Fritz.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, with regard to consent item 1,
Yes.
they are meeting minutes of October 19th, and there was just a error subsequent to the staff report being issued. The roll call states that Hector A. Pacheco was there and he was actually absent for that evening. So we'll make that correction on the actual minutes that you signed.
Thank you. Therefore, I will move to approve the consent calendar with the modification as stated by the city clerk. Councilmember Ballin, did you second that?
Yes.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Mendoza,
Yes.
Councilmember Gonzalez is absent. Councilmember Ballin,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Pacheco,
Yes.
and Mayor Fajardo.
Yes, the motion carries. We are now at item number 8, discussion regarding COVID-19 response efforts and approval of proposed recommendations.
Thank you, Mayor. City Clerk, if you can allow me to share my screen, I will put up a PowerPoint presentation.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, Council, I believe you can see my screen now.
That is correct.
All right. So we will, tonight's COVID-19, this is our biweekly update on our efforts in the COVID's impact over the last few weeks. I'm doing it tonight rather than Deputy City Manager Tim Howe. He actually had his second little girl last week on Wednesday. So they're proud, he's a proud dad of baby number 2. So he's on paternity leave right now. So you have to bear with a second in charge on the COVID here. So through October 31st, LA County cases, there have been about almost 310,000 cases with 7,000 deaths. Locally in San Fernando, we've had a little over 1,100 cases with 20 deaths in our community. You can see on the bottom right there, the cases, how they've progressed over the last few weeks or since June 30th. The staff updates. The last week on October 23rd, the county issued a revised health order allowing a number of different industries to reopen under certain conditions. The one that most of these don't apply in San Fernando, however, personal care establishments, nail salons, and that sort of those sort of industries may now offer indoor services with modifications. And then some students with IEPs have previously been allowed to return to school on a K through 12 campus with 10% occupancy. That has been increased to 25%. And there's a waiver application currently available for school district in-class instruction through the LA County Department of Public Health for TK through 2nd grade. California's blueprint for safer economy. Every Tuesday, this gets updated. LA County, unfortunately, is still in the widespread category of risk level. which means many non-essential indoor businesses are closed. This is the most recent, last Tuesday, the most recent update. You can see that in LA County, we are purple. We are actually, unfortunately, sort of still heading in the wrong direction in the adjusted case rate. We're at 8.0 as of last Tuesday. That number needs to be under 7.0. Has been slowly creeping up over the last number of weeks. We do continue to be within the lower risk level in the positivity rate. However, we need to be within the lower tier for both metrics before we can move to that lower tier. Facility closures, these have not changed over the last few weeks. City Hall continues to be open Monday, Wednesday, Thursday from noon to 5:30, and the park facilities are open on an as-needed basis, either as a cooling center or if there's a public safety power shutoff as a shelter for those that may lose power. So other than that, those park facilities are not open on a regular basis, but we send out alerts whenever those are open to the public for emergency purposes. Outdoor services permits, these continue to be available to any businesses that would like to conduct allow outdoor services, restaurants, barbershops, hair salons, gym, fitness establishments, personal care establishments, places of worship. And we also, in addition to allowing those on sidewalks and private parking lots, we also are allowing certain places to use park space, outdoor space, particularly gym and fitness establishments and places of worship to provide services to their customers. San Fernando Road continues to be closed on Saturdays and Sundays to allow for restaurant and outdoor dining and open space dining. The residential food program, we gave an update on this a few weeks ago. We had our first round in early October. The next distribution is scheduled for November 21st. The cutoff date for round 2 for applying for that is on November 6th, which will be the end of this week. If you missed your distribution on the first round, our recreation staff should be contacting you. If not, please feel free to contact recreation staff, and we will provide your food on November 21st during the second round. We are still accepting applications, and please go to sfcity.org/coronavirus to complete an online application for a residential food distribution program. And this is a picture of a sample of goods that are provided through that program. The businesses, we are very close to having our first distribution. It's currently scheduled for next week, November 9th. We are still accepting applications, and we'll be providing those to small business that needs PPE, personal protective equipment, that will be provided for free to each business that qualifies. Again, please complete an online application if you haven't already, sfcity.org/coronavirus. This is just some additional information. COVID-19 Tenant Relief Act. This provides tenant protections from being evicted due to COVID, and that's pursuant to both county and state ordinances. LA County data for the last 2 weeks. Unfortunately, some of this data is starting to tick up. We are doing a lot more testing in LA County. As you can see, this just shows, this line graph shows the number of tests, average number of tests that have been administered, and you can see after sort of bottoming hitting sort of the bottom in early September, we're now on our way, slowly rising number of tests. Same thing, the positivity rate. Again, it's slowly ticking up. September 26th was 3.1%. Now we're at 3.4%. So again, what that means is 3.4% of those taking tests are testing positive for COVID-19. That has remained relatively flat. However, it has ticked up slightly over the last few weeks. Number of daily of households, number of hospitalizations. This is through October 30th. Again, another metric that is slowly ticked up. We have decreased quite substantially from a high earlier in the summer of over 2,200 beds that were being used for COVID-19 hospitalized patients. However, currently we're at 799, which exceeds our low of back in October of about 670. So again, well within what can be handled with our healthcare system, but trending in the wrong direction. Daily number of deaths have been trending in the right direction. You can see they continue to fall. There was a small uptick at the end of October, but we continue to see, I believe, from what I've heard, the treatments are getting a little bit better in how we treat COVID-19. So that can be seen through the death rate, the number of deaths. Again, we've been continuing to update the mortality rate, and it continues to show that Latino communities and lower income communities are disproportionately impacted from a mortality rate perspective per 100,000 residents in each one of those categories. And that's it as far as an update. I think real quick on Halloween, I think everyone countywide, in this area, from the police department, it was relatively quiet. I believe a lot of people took advantage of that time to spend time with their family and really sort of have fun and celebrate in their own way with their family. We saw, there were some people out celebrating, but it was not it was much slower than in a normal year. So I think a lot of people took to heart the recommendations of the county to really, celebrate in your own way and with your family. So.
Thank you, Mr. Kimball. I know that you are not looking for a motion. This is merely to receive and file, correct?
That is correct.
Great. Having said that, are there any questions or comments from the council before we receive and file this item? Any member of the council wishing to speak?
No.
I see none. Therefore, Mr.
Nick,
Kimball,
I'm just gonna I'm gonna follow up with you on the email just for the in the interest of time, but I'll go ahead and allow the mayor proceed, please. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And therefore, this item is received and filed unless, I'm not sure if I understood correctly. Were you going to ask him a question now or offline?
I can ask offline, not a problem.
Okay,
thank you.
Great. I believe that item number 10 is probably a quicker item, so therefore we will move to item number 10. This was placed on the agenda by Councilmember Mendoza, and it's a discussion and consideration expressing opposition to proposed state legislation that usurps local authority and control. Councilmember Mendoza?
Yes, thank you. I would like to have Mr. Kimball do the presentation with a little bit of the history on this, and then I'll continue after.
Sure. Thank you, Councilmember Mendoza. Just really quickly, I think over the last, 5 or 6 years, actually probably since the elimination of redevelopment, there has been a number of efforts by the state of California to erode local control of various, in various areas. That cities used to have control and the ability to say yes or no to certain development standards, housing standards, economic development standards, and over the last few years, a lot of legislative actions at the state level have really eroded the city's ability to plan our own community, which is primarily basically the primary function of the city. So this request by Councilmember Mendoza is very much in line with there's a number of cities in Southern California and LA County particularly who have a pretty significant housing target to reach over the next 9 years. And if we don't reach that target, or communities don't reach that target, the state, has threatened legislation to force the building of housing in a way that may not be suitable to our community. So what this is asking is for council to give direction to staff to prepare a simple resolution that this council, basically stands against the state continually eroding our ability to make local policy in certain arenas. So Councilman Mendoza, that's the context.
Thank you, Councilmember. At this time, I will go to you for discussion, and if you'd like to make a motion, you may as well. Councilmember Mendoza.
Okay. I just want to say that, at least 23 cities have already passed this resolution, and 22 more are considering it. And we don't want to lose our ability to make decisions for our community. And based on our uniqueness and character of our city, we should be able to decide what the development, the zoning, parking. There's a lot of situations that that this entails, and we don't want to lose that power. So I'm asking council to please move forward with a motion, with a resolution for this item.
Thank you. Do you move the item, Councilmember Mendoza?
I move the item.
Great, and I will second that, but I'll still go to council for discussion. Councilmember Ballin, any questions or comments?
My comment is, it's very frustrating that you have people that are not residents that are always trying to tell us what our city should look like and how much density we should have, and I don't support it. So it's our city. We live here. We pay the property taxes, and I don't support people that don't live here, that are not residents, trying to dictate what we should do. So that's my comment.
Thank you, Councilmember Ballin. Vice Mayor Pacheco?
Thank you. Yeah, I think we should definitely have something like this reflect the fact that, we are not a city that is looking for high density, low income housing like the RENA numbers are asking us to. And so if we can have, something like this that staff prepares to kind of reflect not only, everything that Ms. Ballin and Ms. Mendoza is saying, but also the nitty gritty of what Sacramento is asking from San Fernando and even from our neighbors. So I think we're all pretty clear on where we should be headed. And so I feel if staff kind of takes that holistic approach to it, it's something I could support. So we'll look forward to seeing it and sending that message because it is an important one. Thank you.
Thank you. I have nothing else to add. Roll call, please, Ms. Fritz.
Yes. Councilmember Mendoza,
Yes.
Councilmember Gonzalez, he is absent. Councilmember Ballin,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Pacheco,
Yes.
Mayor Fajardo.
Yes, the motion carries. We are now at item number 9. This is the whistleblower protection policy that we asked staff to bring back to us. And Mr. Kimball, are you best suited to give this update, or is this Mr. Padilla's realm?
Mr. Padilla will make the quick presentation. I just wanted to remind council that this was at staff's direction. Mr. Padilla at council direction did a little bit of additional research on what some other cities might do and what we may want to consider for a local policy. Mr. Padilla did that, and so tonight we're looking for some guidance and recommendations on what we would bring back in the future on a specific policy and procedures for San Fernando. So go ahead, Mr. Padilla.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Kimball, and thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. As Mr. Kimball indicated, our office did do a survey, or at least an informal survey, of several cities, both local and elsewhere in the state, to get a sense of how they structure whistleblower protection efforts in their respective cities. I would also note that at the suggestion of, I believe, Councilmember Ballin, we also met or had a conference call with representatives of the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, who have a dedicated ethics office, and they were able to provide some insight to this as well. By way of background, as indicated in the staff report, there are already in existence state laws, both and federal laws as well, that essentially prohibit retaliation against whistleblowers, and that is essentially anybody who is attempting to report wrongdoing either in the performance of city government or in some sort of effort to commit some sort of fraudulent act by city government. And those protections exist whether or not a city has a policy. With respect to individual cities, however, many of them, as indicated in the staff report, do go the extra length to kind of add some flesh to how the policy effort works, or how implementation of the policy works, should someone wish to come forward with information that is potentially information concerning impropriety. The majority of the cities that we looked at handle it in more or less a conventional way, which is that the employee is obligated to present their case to some high-level official with the city or within the HR department, and that department head, acting in confidentiality, will be tasked to investigate the allegations, and if necessary, present that to the council and address the matter, assuming there are merits. So that's sort of the vanilla approach that most or a good many cities approach. But having been part of the discussion earlier, we understand from some on the council that there is a concern that maybe that bare bones process may be inadequate in so far as making potential whistleblowers feel comfortable enough to come forward. So with that, there are two sort of main alternatives for that. Some cities operating within the conventional format do also have procedures whereby an employee or a potential whistleblower is allowed to submit their information anonymously, and depending on the nature of the allegation, the city will attempt to preserve their identity as much as can be afforded. I mean, ultimately, at some point, though, to the extent that you're accusing somebody, the person you're accusing has a right to confront their accuser either through the administrative process or potentially in court. So that can either be done verbally. Some cities have implemented what are called whistleblower hotlines, and those will allow them to convey essentially the same information without having to appear in person at an office. As an offshoot of that, some, and I believe there were some questions related to that, some public agencies have software platforms whereby, again, the potential whistleblower has the ability to detail their allegation and spell it out from the comfort of their computer, and with some expectation of confidentiality. Now, what I want to emphasize here, though, is that even though there are these sort of alternative means, it's still, for conveying the complaint, in many ways, these cities still address the complaint in the same way. The complaint has to go somewhere, and sometimes the anonymous hotline will send it to the HR department. Sometimes it'll send it to the city manager, depending on what the policy of the city is. So at some point, it is still routed to an appropriate authority for inquiry and investigation. So that's kind of the first sort of set of whistleblower policy types. Now, the ones that I think maybe some on this council have a little more interest in are those that are kind of similar to what the Metropolitan Water District has. I would simply preface this by saying that these entities that tend to have these more robust, separate, standalone bodies tend to be larger agencies that have large numbers of employees, perhaps understandably bigger budgets to fund standalone departments that deal strictly with ethics issues. In speaking with MWD, what they did make it clear to us was that employees can both submit complaints both anonymously or in person, depending on what their preference is. But the ethics department, the standalone ethics office, which is staffed by ethics attorneys, still has to make a determination. They can see that they still make a determination as to what department to route it to. And more often than not, they indicated that they will route certain types of complaints, perhaps those are workplace related, will get routed to MWD's HR department. Other types of complaints maybe that have to do with fiscal impropriety either would perhaps be routed internally through their department or through some other appropriate department. So at the end of the day, the ethics office at MWD acts more like a gatekeeper to route possible complaints that are coming in. With that, I think that's kind of the general big picture summary of what we had. I think a lot of it is detailed in the staff report. And at this point, I'm happy to field questions if folks have any.
Thank you. I would actually like to continue studying the models that you're providing. And I think that part of it is that there was too much information for me to be able to digest in too short of a time to really figure out which really is the best solution. But I do like the overall idea of having potentially a separate agency where people could report concerns to. And obviously I understand what you're saying, that at some point the person has to be acknowledged because people have a right to face accusers, and there's so many other ways that that person would interface with a complaint.
Right.
But having said that, my recommendation is to continue this item to our next meeting. It will give us all an opportunity to study some of the different formats provided by other cities and to potentially provide a recommendation to come forward for an actual vote. Having said that, I will go to my council colleagues. Councilmember Mendoza, any questions or comments?
No, I think it's important for us to have a whistleblower policy and would like to hear more information, and I have time to think about it all and all the proposals.
Thank you. Councilmember Ballin? She might have stepped away. Vice Mayor Pacheco?
No, here I am. I didn't
Yeah.
realize I had. Okay, so I'm leaning toward hiring a firm because we are small and award them a contract, and I need you to look into that to get back to us, and what kind of firm would we hire and what scope of work are we going to give them? So those are some things to consider, Richard.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Yeah, I would definitely like to consider some questions along the lines of the anonymous hotline, the anonymous email, etc. Mr. Kimball, can you explain what exactly employees do currently? And Mr. Padilla, you mentioned that these other cities have some basic kind of bare bones approach where they just make the complaint to somebody in the department. Mr. Kimball, is that something that already happens now, or do you handle them personally, or how exactly do we handle personnel complaints?
Sure. Typically, so we don't have any specific whistleblower policy or procedures on the books specific to San Fernando, but typically they do go in through the personnel department or division. The personnel division is within the city manager's office, so and they're a confidential staff that over there. So depending on the level in the department, that they tend to be the intake of the initial complaint, so to speak. And typically that would then go, we would work in conjunction with the city attorney's office to sort of figure out next steps, whether it warranted some additional investigation.
So if we had like a hotline or an email, etc., it would go to this group anyway, right? They would probably be our first responders on it.
Personnel would most likely be the city's internal first responder, unless we wanted to dedicate maybe, the city attorney or someone else as they're not necessarily employees, but HR really does have training, and that is really typically part of their job, or to handle personnel complaints.
Okay, then yeah, I think if we find a way to make sure that the complaint or the anonymity or whatever it is that the individual wants to have, I mean, I think you can keep it consistent throughout. So Mr. Padilla, if we can just get some options on that, I think that would be great. So thank you for the information.
Great. I think that with this general council feedback, it'll be helpful to come in maybe with some options at the next meeting, so we can discuss it in that context. Having said that, we are now moving on to staff communication. Mr. Kimball, is there any staff communication tonight?
There's just one item of staff communication that I would like to read. As you may notice, I'm usually hairy-faced on these meetings. However, I am somewhat clean-shaven tonight. And I just, Mike Delgado in the police department over the last few years has really been spearheading a Movember. That's Movember with an M, which is a awareness campaign. So I want to read to you an email that he sent out to all city employees, because I think it is really a good way to show, how our staff and police department goes above and beyond. So again, this is from Officer Mike Delgado. As many of you already know, the police department has been running a yearly fundraiser through Movember.com. Each year we grow out our mustaches to bring awareness to men's health, in particular prostate and testicular cancer. Prostate cancer statistics are alarming. About 1 in 9 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer during his lifetime. Prostate cancer is the second leading cause of cancer in American men, behind only lung cancer. About 1 in 41 men die of prostate cancer. This year, Chief Viral has agreed to help us turn it up a notch. This year, we'll be growing out our beards for the entire month of November. A best beard contest will also be part of the fundraiser. Our Manliest Man in San Fernando contest starts on November 1st. In order to take part in it, you must donate $100 to Men's Health. Once you've done that, text me a picture on October 31st, clean shaven, which is what I had to do on Saturday. Clean shaven means no facial hair whatsoever, so shave those nasty mustaches. On November 30th, you must we'll send in another picture of the beard. And then if possible, please take both photos in uniform and we'll share them on department and city social media. All of us in law enforcement have been dealing with a lot of negativity this year, and it would be great to show our community a different side of their local policemen. If you'd rather not use your photo on social media, please let me know ahead of time. Your privacy will be respected. At the end of the month, we will host a poll on our social media account, and voters will determine who is the manliest man in San Fernando. So I just wanted to read that. If anyone is interested in donating, it's the name of the team, of the San Fernando Police Department team, is Los Guapos de San Fernando. And that would be through Movember, Movember.com. And that's all staff communication for tonight.
Thank you. General counsel comments, Councilmember Mendoza.
I have no comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Ballin.
Yes, I'd like to say that I agree 100% with Dee Aikman and her comments regarding these trash hate mailers. And it's unfortunate. And just as she said, we don't need someone from the outside, particularly from other locations, to trash our candidates. So those are my only comments, and thank you, staff.
Thank you. Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Yes, I'd like to say to reiterate to all our residents that voting is very important. The city council passed a resolution for election day tomorrow because we take our elections very seriously, and we hope that the city of San Fernando does its best to turn out the vote. I'd also like to echo the sentiments about these outside groups and super PACs. I really just want to encourage voters to just take a good hard look at the candidates, at the facts, where we've been, where we're going. I hope that the election infrastructure is able to give us all a sense of confidence. Unfortunately, it's been very much undermined in other parts of the country. And I hope that San Fernando can set another example of how a strong community can come together and execute on such a very different election day, very different than anything we've had before. So thank you to all the staff who've been able to do so much good work in preparation of our election. Our next meeting, we might have a very good idea of what our council will look like in 2021. So again, thank you to everybody involved, and I hope that we all have a safe and fun election night tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, tomorrow will be a very crucial day in the city's history and the nation's history. And I hope that everyone has had an opportunity to do all his and her due diligence. Having said that, I will now move to adjourn this regular San Fernando City Council meeting at 7 p.m. Is there a second?
Oh,
Okay.
Julia, did you hear that? It's a second. I'm second. I have to second. Thank you, Julia.
Oh, okay.
Very good.
And roll call, please.
Yes, Councilmember Mendoza.
Yes.
Councilmember Gonzalez, he is absent. Councilmember Ballin.
Oh, I'm so happy. Yes.
Vice Mayor Pacheco
Yes.
and Mayor Fajardo.
Yes. The motion carries. The meeting is adjourned at 7:01 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.
Evening, everyone.
Good night.